Before Oppenheimer came out, Cilian Murphy was regarded as not that much of a deal in the film industry. Most people look at him and be like, oh, he is the Peaky Blinder guy. But if you ask, what memorable roles has he played in films? Most people would go, oh, I remember he played some side roles like that corporation heir dude in Inception and that bearded daddy guy in A Quiet Place. Although these roles left an impression, they had much lesser screen presence than the protagonists, often making him overshadowed. Point is, aside from his die-hard fans, he's largely perceived as a peripheral figure in the film industry, an existence overlooked by mainstream film viewers. People rarely classify him among the top-tier movie stars. So much so that when the casting for Oppenheimer came out, many were surprised to see Cilian in the lead role, with numerous famous actors playing supporting roles for him, including big names like Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, etc. This begs the question, how did Cilian land the protagonist role? Is this casting choice justified? Does his acting prowess stand up to those big-name stars? And there began my research. After binge-watching 40 of his work day and night, rejecting all social activities, my almost inflamed eyes led me to a conclusion. From an acting perspective, Cilian is absolutely top-notch. I would even argue that his acting surpassed many of the so-called first-tier actors. This then brings me to another puzzle. If he's genuinely that talented, why has he been so under the radar in the cinematic world?
Is it because film directors are dumb, or a reflection of Hollywood's moral decay and corruption?
And there began my research again. After watching a gazillion of his interviews, analyzing his every thought and every decision, I came to a conclusion. He made that conscious choice himself. While others sought to be seen, he sought something different. So here I present this video made to show how Cilian Murphy is one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood and why that is partially his own doing. Section 1. Things he does that most other actors can't. First thing I want to talk about is facial expressions. Cilian is a master at using his face. His eyes, his every frown and smile to convey the right emotions. I know some will say, but isn't that a minimum requirement for Hollywood actors? Well, I find a lot of them not having this ability. Oftentimes their face looks bland, devoid of emotions, and anytime they attempt to emote, the only thing they're capable of doing is yelling really loud or raising their pitches while their eyes remain dead. Basically, if you take away the punchlines and the background music, based on their facial expressions, you'd have no clue what emotional state they're in. Here's an infamous example. Mark Wahlberg in The Happening. There's the scene that's supposed to be the movie's big emotional evocative moment. The world is about to end, so the protagonist decides to forgive his girlfriend for lying to him before. His speech is supposed to move the girl to tears. And here is how he acts. I've taken out the punchlines so we can just focus on his facial expressions. Even when the voice is added back, it's not much better.
If we're gonna die, I want you to know something. I was in a pharmacy a while ago.
Now, on the other side of the spectrum are master actors who are really good at using facial expressions. An example would be Hannibal in The Silence of the Lambs, starred by Anthony Hopkins. This one is pretty self-explanatory. Just look at his eyes, his face, his creepy smile. Even if no words were said, you would still feel that chill. So much so that rumor has it that the co-starring actress didn't even dare talk to him off-shoot, because his face was just that intimidating. And you need someone like that to star in Oppenheimer, because this is a movie with a strong focus on character portrayal. The inner monologues, the character clashes, the conflict of the mind. You need someone who can showcase all of that with his face. Someone like Cilian Murphy who has a proven record of mastering facial expressions. The examples are abundant, and here I will just use two examples. First is his performance in Red Eye. Here he plays the villain, a terrifying antagonist who takes Rachel Adams hostage. However, in the beginning, he pretends to be this polite, civil-looking gentleman, only to reveal his sinister and wicked side later on. Meaning he's got multiple faces throughout the film, like a chameleon switching up his look and vibe when the situation demands. His performances prove how facial expressions alone can shift a character's essence. With those deep blue eyes, he can charm and seduce, melting your hearts away, yet within an instant, he can terrify, intimidate, and give every passenger straight-up chills, showcasing his ability of flawlessly oscillating between different personalities. He's also incredibly skilled at playing to the camera. He is always aware of where the lens is, even just from the corner of his eye. Throughout the film, he has given many face-focused shots, some of which suddenly take up the entire screen. When actors get these kinds of close-ups, their acting ability or lack thereof is immediately apparent since every little expression is exposed. Cilian, with just his facial expressions, perfectly captures the terror and dark allure of his character. Inside an airplane's constrained environment, he radiates an intense oppressiveness, enveloping the film in an aura of foreboding fear. The second example is his performance in Peacock, a psychological thriller in 2010. This time he plays a bank employee suffering from dissociative identity disorder due to childhood trauma, embroiled in a psychological battle for control over his body with another female personality he's developed. Taking on dual roles in the film, he effortlessly switches between two personas. Whether it's the scenes where his male appearance channels female characteristics or when the female self mimics a man's tone over the phone, as mere facial expression is enough to tell them apart. At the same time, as the plot progresses, he has to navigate the constantly twisting and evolving emotions, brilliantly bringing to life the complex conflicts and challenges of the role. Producer Barry Mendel strongly praised his performance, thinking he deserved an Oscar. However, since the movie was too niche, not many people watched it and it didn't receive any awards. Although I personally think it is one of Murphy's best acted films. This isn't his first time playing a feminine role. Back in 2005, at the age of 29, he portrayed a transgender character in the movie Breakfast on Pluto. To nail the role, he went to great lengths to study and emulate female gestures and expressions, especially during a scene where he passionately sings a song on stage. Everything from his emotional delivery to his body language exudes feminine allure. He even mastered the walk. His film solidified his reputation as a talented actor and earned him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor and a win at the Irish Film Academy. Alright, so aside from facial expressions, the second thing I want to talk about is his ability to play deep characters, which is not something everyone can pull off in Hollywood. More often than it should, the acting feels flat and one-dimensional. Now, I do understand it's not entirely the actor's fault, as the character design itself can be monotone, which is not the case with Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is a complex character. As we all know, he had a moral dilemma. To push the button meant possibly ending World War II, but on the other side of the coin, he faced the fear of opening humanity's Pandora's box. Even with all his ingenuity, he had no idea what awaited the human race. If you've watched his footage clips, you'd see a vibe of someone a bit melancholic, multifaceted, grappling with moral quandaries, torn between choices and directions. You can see the awareness in his eyes and the perplexity he feels over humanity's continuous gamble with destiny and mortality. All these indicate that he's a deeply intricate and nuanced character. And Cilian has a proven record of portraying complicated, morally gray characters. Again, I will use two examples here. First is his performance in 28 Days Later. This low-budget zombie movie went for authenticity, casting the then-unknown actor Cilian and using handheld DVs for on-location shots. The scenes of Cilian wandering the streets of a deserted London are still iconic in film history. Yeah, the movie isn't just about visual thrills. It dives into the darker sides of human nature. Cilian plays a pale, skinny delivery guy who's forced to adapt swiftly to an increasingly dark world. He starts off as an innocent, good-hearted guy, to revealing a violent side due to the pressure of survival, becoming a vengeful force capable of overpowering professional soldiers. Cilian nailed this emotional and personality shift, and his ability to transition between good and evil was on point. It was this role that got him noticed in Hollywood and caught Christopher Nolan's eye. Second example is the show everyone likes to talk about, Peaky Blinders. In 2013, the 37-year-old Cilian Murphy met his career-defining role in the BBC series Peaky Blinders, a show inspired by the real-life razor gangs and hailed as the gangster masterpiece of the 21st century. The series stands out not for gratuitous violence, but for its deep exploration of human nature. This show sparked a global Peaky Blinders craze and was widely acclaimed. A significant part of this success is owed to Cilian's portrayal of the protagonist, Thomas Shelby. On the surface, Thomas seems ruthless, a cold-hearted strategist who won't blink an eye while eliminating rivals, but internally he's got fierce loyalty to his family and a strong personal code of ethics. Cilian masterfully embodies this character, striking a balance between gentlemanly grace and gangster brutality. Not only can he effortlessly capture the might and fierceness of a gangster, but he also exudes elegance in negotiations and exhibits incredible mental ease, presenting an anti-hero with undeniable style and charm. Many believe the role was tailored for him. However, quite the contrary, he fought hard for this role, which was originally envisioned for another British actor, Jason Statham. Yes, the Jason Statham who plays every character like he's playing himself, because at that time the producers felt that Cilian's appearance and demeanor didn't quite fit the image of a gangster boss.
Opted for Jason, but I was stupid enough not to understand that. Shortly after he sent a text saying, "Remember, I'm an actor."
This leads to my next point. Effort. Cilian is someone who puts immense effort into his every opportunity. He can always portray roles that contrast sharply with his own personality, seamlessly blending himself with the character. Apart from facial expressions, the dedication he invests in altering his physical appearance is astounding. For instance, in Peaky Blinders, he broke a 15-year vegetarian habit, consuming meat to bulk up his physique. Originally a non-smoker, he used nicotine-free herbal cigarettes for his role, consuming 3,000 of them over one season. He even crafted a unique Shelby walking style, aka puffing one's chest and swinging one's arms while walking. Furthermore, he developed a Birmingham accent for Shelby that, under his precise mastery, became a global accent trend. This very accent even served as language teaching material on YouTube. All these efforts successfully rendered Thomas Shelby iconic. And man, he really went all out to play Oppenheimer. The real Oppenheimer weighed only about 57 kg, so Cilian slimmed down by around 7 kg before filming began. Check out his photos. He's looking super lean. Gotta give props for that kind of commitment. And you know what's super cool about Cilian? He doesn't just sit around waiting for roles to fall into his lap. Apart from Peaky Blinders, he's been out there chasing roles in films like Breakfast on Pluto and Red Eye. That's so different from those Hollywood stars who just expect everything handed to them. He's got some serious passion for acting. Flipping through Cilian's past filmography, you'll see he's mostly been an independent. Small indie films, not so much the big blockbuster types. It's kind of his unique taste when it comes to picking scripts. He's like a breath of fresh air in Hollywood. He doesn't care about how big the role is, whether he's playing the main guy or the supporting guy, or if the role is going to make him famous. That's pretty rare in Hollywood, as most ambitious actors will prioritize roles that'll boost their popularity. I don't blame them because I would probably do the same. Who doesn't like fame? Cilian believes that fame and exposure take a backseat to the craft of acting. He's all about delivering a good performance. He thinks that big commercial blockbuster films are often filled with predictable tropes, while small indie films offer him a bigger canvas to flex his acting muscles. However, we all know that indie films generally attract fewer viewers. So there's this mismatch. His acting skill is not proportional to his fame. He's way less famous than some of his co-stars, and he doesn't make as many waves online either. In Hollywood, acting skill isn't always the ticket to popularity. Big budget movies and marketing hold that key. That's why some not-so-great actors stay big in Hollywood. But none of that takes away from the fact that Cilian is an outstanding actor. I even think that people like him, who are purely driven by a passion for acting, are what true actors are made of. When it comes to his private life, Cilian steers clear of pretty much anything unrelated to acting, showing little interest in Hollywood's glitzy events and perks. He's not big on social media, and he doesn't frequent award ceremonies. Given some free time, he'd rather spend it with his family, living much like any ordinary person. Even after making waves with Peaky Blinders, he still regularly returned to the theater stage to hone his craft, holding on to the same passion and intent he had when he first started out. Can you find another actor in Hollywood so grounded and humble? As we wrap up this video, I strongly urge you to check out Oppenheimer or any of Cilian Murphy's works. He truly is a gem of an actor, deserving more attention. Thanks for watching this video.